In this video, I'm going to show how to assemble granny squares to make a granny square purse. In this layout, these top corners here, or these top pieces, will be the top of the purse where the straps will attach. This bottom piece right here will be the bottom of the bag. So here's my pattern. I apologize, it has all my notes all over it. However, if you'll notice, here on block 2 and 9, that's where the purse folds. So this is the shape of the purse, and then the bottom folds over. So it will look like this. This is technically the front of the purse, where number 6 is, and number 12 would technically be the back of the purse. And we're going to work this continuously. It's a join as you go. So this will actually also be larger than it is now because each block will have more rows in between. Okay, so to start, we're going to start on block 1. We're going to work a zigzag up and down the sides, and the first row is the only row that we work this direction. After that, all the rows were worked up, just as far as the numbering goes. So when I pile these up, I'm going to go, this is block 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and that's just going to kind of give me space to work, and I'm just going to be pulling the next block each time I'm ready to attach. So to begin, I am just using a neutral color yarn to attach these. Okay, so when I start, I'm actually going to start with what's called a standing double crochet this time. And a standing double crochet, you start with a slip knot, and you put that slip knot onto your hook. You yarn over, and you just grab your first square and pick a corner. It doesn't really matter which corner you start with, just a corner. So you're going to yarn over, and you're going to do a double crochet as if you were doing a regular double crochet. This gets it up to the top, and it gets it the correct height. So that's our standing double crochet. And I always start midway, or on the third. So if I'm looking at a cluster, a granny cluster, when I start a corner, I always start right here, so that when it ends, when I finally finish the entire bag, I will end with my last 2 double crochets that will attach to this. So this is the part of a granny cluster I'm starting with right here in my next row. So my next thing I'm going to do is chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to continue around my corner with a granny cluster, which is 3 double crochets. And then in this pattern, I have chained 1 in between each one of my clusters. So I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to chain 1, move on to the next space, and work another cluster of 3 double crochets. Chain 1, move over to the next chain space. And then I'm going to do a corner, which is going to be a cluster, a chain 3, and another cluster, all in the corner space. And then I'll continue on, and I will go all the way around to this corner. So I'm going to do the rest of this side, and the next side, and I'll meet you back where this corner is. Okay, so I've made it around. I'm getting ready to do my next corner. However, this time I'm going to only do one cluster. I'm going to chain one. I'm going to grab my next square. Sorry, actually I'm going to chain two. I'm going to chain two, grab my next square. I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the corner of my next square, and do a double crochet. So it's kind of like a standing double crochet that we just did, just like we started with, because we are yarning over and inserting our hook into the next square where we hadn't started crocheting yet. And then I'm going to do 2 more double crochets. And that starts me up the next side of my next square. So instead of chaining one here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my loop up, take my hook out, find the chain space of the previous square I was working on, insert my hook, put my yarn back on my hook, pull the loop back down tight. I'm going to do my chain now, and then on my new square I'm going to move to my next chain space and do a cluster. Then every time I would chain between clusters, I'm going to pull up my loop, insert my hook into the next chain space of the previous row, put the loop back on, do my chain one, and then move on to my next cluster. Pull up a loop, insert my hook into the chain space on the first square, put my loop back on, do my chain one, and then that brings me to the corner. So I'll start my corner, so I've done the first cluster of my corner. I'm going to chain one, take my hook off after I've pulled up a loop, insert my hook into the corner space of the previous block, put my hook back on, pull it through, chain one, and then I'm going to do three more double crochet in that new corner. You can see we have now attached these two blocks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue around just regular until I get to the next corner, and then we'll start to attach our next block. Okay, so I've finished around the other two sides, so now we're ready to start our next square. So let's take the one off the top, and we're going to chain 2. So again, I've only done the first cluster in the corner. I'm going to chain 2, and yes, when we round the corner we do 3 chains, but whenever we are attaching the next squares we do only 2. It just ends up being a little too much otherwise. Okay, so when we go to attach this next square, we yarn over first, insert our hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. So that gives us a standing double crochet on this next corner. Sorry, got a tangled mess here. And then we'll finish out this cluster on the new square. So we have 1, 2, 3 double crochets. And when it's time to do a chain, we're going to take our hook out, insert our hook into the hole, pull that through. That's when we'll do our chain 1, and then move on to the next cluster. We will work the same way, working the whole way up this side, attaching our block. Each time we would have a chain between our clusters. That's when we remove our hook from our loop, insert it into the old square, pull our loop through, chain 1, and move on to the next chain space to start our next cluster. Once we get to the corner, we're going to do 1 chain, pull up our loop, insert our hook into the corner space, pull our loop through, chain 1. Now if you start to find that it's pulling, you could do another chain here. If your tension's really tight, you could do the 3rd chain when you're turning here. I find that my tension stays pretty good and it doesn't pull down or pull over, so 2 chains works for me. But if yours are kind of doing one of these numbers, you might need to do the 3rd chain here, which would happen right now. And then we'll finish this corner with a double crochet cluster here in our corner. And then, oops, we've turned that corner. So we will continue around till right here when we're going to attach our next block. Okay, so I've finished around to my last corner here. And so I'm going to take my next block, and this is the only row also that has 4 blocks in it. All the rest of them only have 3. So this is the bottom piece that we're adding on right now. I've already done my chain 1 after my cluster, so I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the corner of my new block, finish my standing double crochet. I'm going to do 2 more double crochets. And then pull my hook out, insert my hook into the previous square, pull my loop through, chain 1, oops, move on to my next hole here, do my 3 double crochets, pull my loop up, move down to my next space on my previous square, pull my loop through and chain 1, and continue all the way to the corner. Here's my corner. I'll start with my first 3 double crochets, chain 1, pull up a loop, insert my hook into the corner of the previous square, grab my loop again, pull it through, chain 1, and then complete my corner with my 3 double crochets. Again, if it's pulling a little tight for you, you can do an additional chain before you start finish your corner. And then this time we're not going to go all the way over to this side. We're only going to finish to right here. So I'm going to chain 1, my next cluster, then I'm going to start this corner of the cluster, and we have worked all the way down our first row, so this is where we are. We are right here on 4. We've gone around the first side, attaching it to block number 3. We've come down this direction. This is where we just ended. And now we're going to start up the next row by attaching block number 5. And we're going to do it the same way we were attaching 2 to 1 and 3 to 2 and 4 to 5, except now it's going to go 5 is going to get attached to 4 over right here. So I'm going to do a chain 1. I'm going to grab my new square. I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into a corner, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And this is going to constantly be rotating on us here. So next we're going to finish out this cluster with 2 more double crochets. Remove our hook, and we're going to be working up this direction now. We're going to be working up this side, attaching this here. So I'm going to insert my hook right here into my hole for my previous square, do my chain 1, and then do clusters and attaching it the whole way to the corner. Finish to the corner. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to go diagonal. So I'm going to go to this square because that's diagonal to this one. I'm going to find that corner, and that's where I'm inserting my hook next. Chain 1, and then finish my corner out. And then I'm going to work down just this one side of my square. And that's with chain 1 and cluster, and chain 1 and cluster, and now it's time to join our next block. So we're going to go chain 1, my next block here, oops, get my next block, going to yarn over, insert my hook into a corner, do my double crochet, and now I'm going to be working up this side, attaching the two sides together. I'm doing that just the way I have been, so I'm going to finish this cluster that I already started with 2 more double crochets. I'm going to remove my hook, insert it into the next hole from my previous square. I'm going to loop through, chain 1, and start my next cluster. And when I'm at my corner, I'm going to do my 3 double crochets, I'm going to chain 1, remove my hook, and again I'm going to go to that diagonal corner. So this block is my diagonal, here's the corner of it, so that's where I'm inserting my hook. And you're going to make sure this is locked down pretty tight, don't let it get loose on you. So there's your chain 1, and then finish out my corner. Okay. Then we're going to turn and we're going to work up this side, attaching these 2 blocks together. We do that the same way, it just looks a little bit different because now we're kind of surrounded by blocks a little bit. So we'll take our hook out, we'll go to the next hole in this square that we're attaching to, chain 1, do our next cluster, and when I'm at my corner, I do my first cluster, chain 1, again I'm going diagonal, so here's my diagonal block, I'm going to find the corner there, that's where I'm going to insert my hook, chain 1, and then continue down this other side of my block. And so I'll work all the way over to here, and then we'll get ready to attach our next square. Okay, we'll chain 1, get our next square, and that's the one that'll go here. I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the next corner, yarn over, pull up loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, that gets my double crochet, do 2 more double crochets in that corner, and then we're going to attach working up this side. Alright, we get to the corner then. We start our corner with our 3 double crochets. Chain 1, pull our loop up, go to the diagonal, find the corner, which is right here, that's where I'm going to insert my hook, do my chain 1, and this is where, that's like that's the last one that's going to go in this corner. So that's the one we kind of want to make tight, so we don't want to get a big gap here on our top loops. And then we will finish this corner with 3 more double crochets. And then we're going to attach this block to this side. Get to the corner, do your first 3 double crochets, chain 1, go to the diagonal block, find the corner, insert your hook, pick up that loop again, chain 1, finish your corner, okay, and then we're going to work down this side. And now this time when we get to the corner, or to this corner, we've already done all 3 for this side, which brings us to right here. We just finished attaching number 7, so we're going to round the corner and we're going to work the whole way down, straight down this side, right here. So I'm going to do chain 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to finish out this corner. Chain 1, cluster chain 1, cluster chain 1, then we get to a corner. This is a corner. That's where the 2 rows meet, so we're going to be finishing out. This 3 actually finishes out that corner. And then we do chain 1 and a slip stitch in this hole right here between the 2 sides. So we've got this square, that's where they were attached. We had chain 2 here on the corner, so we're going to just slip stitch there. Another chain 1, and then we'll move over to this corner and finish it out. So we're doing another cluster there. Oops, I missed a yarn over. Okay, that rounds our corner. Rounded this corner, it rounded this corner, and then we will chain 1 and keep working on down until we get to the next place where we've got to finish out our 2 corners. So we did chain 3 in this corner, we chained 1, we slip stitched to the space in between these two clusters. I chained 1, and now I'm going to do another cluster, which rounds out this corner. I'll chain 1, and I will finish this side. And then when we get to the corner, we're going to do just the first 3 double crochets, chain 1. There we've finished out, this was row 1, we finished out row 2, and now it's time to start row 3. Okay, so we've just finished attaching row 2. Row 3 starts out slightly different because when we come down to do row 3, this next block needs to drop down instead of continuing in this straight line up. So what we're going to do is we're going to start attaching it the same as we have been. We just finished. We're going to do chain 2, yarn over and insert our hook into the corner of our square. However, this time, if we look here, instead of attaching it to row 5, we're just going to work straight up this side of it. So we're going to finish this first set of 3 double crochets, chain 1, and work straight down this entire side. And we'll start our corner. And what this does is, instead of it being straight up here, it gives it, that's where it's going to live, is down here. So we've gone up the side. Now we're going to start attaching the blocks to each other. So we'll grab our next block. We will chain 2, yarn over, insert our hook into a corner of the next square. Do our first 3, and then this is going to end up being here. So I'm going to, like I said, this gets rotated all over the place, but I'll try to line it up so you can see where we're working every once in a while. So next I'm going to be attaching the second square of row 3 to the first square of row 3, which on the little map we have drawn out there are blocks 8 and 9 if you have them numbered. But I'm going to be working down the side, attaching it just like I've attached the other blocks to each other. When I get to the corner, I'm going to do my 3 double crochets. I'm going to chain 1. This is where I would typically have a diagonal to work into, but because there is no diagonal block up here, instead of removing my hook and working around everything, all I'm going to do is slip stitch to this chain 2. So I'm just going to slip stitch around it. And then I'm going to do another chain 1 and continue or finish out that corner. Now I'm going to be attaching these two blocks to each other. So when we get to the corner, we'll do 3 double crochets, chain 1. We'll find our diagonal block, which is over here. Insert our hook into the corner, grab that loop back up, chain 1, and then finish our corner. And then we're going to finish down this side, and we will attach the last block the same way as we've been attaching. So I work down this side. Get to my corner, do my 3 double crochets. I'll chain 2, and I will grab my next square. So I'll yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 for my first double crochet, do 2 more double crochets, and then this square will be attached down this side. Get to my corner and do 3 double crochets, chain 1. Now all 3 squares are already attached here, so this is the 4th one, this is the last one. So we go to our diagonal, insert our hook, and this is the one that we want to make sure our tension is nice and tight on. We don't want this to get loose. Not that it would fall apart or anything, it'll just create a loop, and it's the topmost loop you see. So you want it to be snug so it looks nice and finished, since that's the last one you see. We'll do our 3 double crochets to finish out that corner. And we'll attach down this side. We get to the corner, we do our 3 double crochets, chain 1, find our diagonal corner, insert our hook, chain 1, and then we'll finish down this side. Okay, and when we get to the corner this time, this is the last square of our row, so we actually get to round the corner. So we'll do 3 double crochets, chain 3, and then finish the corner with 3 more double crochets. It's always exciting when you get to round the corner. Okay, so I'm working my way down this side, and I've reached where would be my corner space. So again, this is how we do that. I do my 3 double crochets, I chain 1. I'm going to slip stitch to the chain 2 space that's created by joining those two squares together right here. So slip stitch, do another chain, and then I move on to my next square and I'm finishing out the other half of that corner. So I'm going to do 3 double crochets. I chained 1, I'm going to continue down this side. I'm going to do the same thing as here with these corners right here, and I'll meet you down here at the end of this row. Okay, when I get to this corner, I'm going to start the corner with my 3 double crochet, and then I'm going to chain 2, just like I did back here. This is going to stretch across to my next square, so I'm going to yarn over, do a double crochet, followed by 2 more, and then I'm going to work down this side, because when I have this all laid out here, this square is going to live right here, so it's not getting attached on this side. I'm going to work straight down this side, and then I'll start attaching squares together. So this one just kind of hangs out over here until we're ready to attach some more. And so when I get to the corner of this one, I'm only going to start my corner once again. I'm just going to do the 3 double crochets of this corner. I'm going to chain 2, get my next square, yarn over, insert my hook into the corner, do 3 double crochets, and then now this square is going to go here. So we're going to rotate this all so I can see it the right direction. We're going to insert our hook. So this is the one we just attached. I'm going to insert my hook in the space here. Chain 1. And then we're going to attach this all the way down this side, just like we've been attaching all of our other squares. Okay, when we get to the corner, we'll pull some more yarn out here. When we get to the corner, we do the first 3 double crochets, we chain 1, and because there is no diagonal corner here, this is where we just slip stitch around this chain space, chain another one, and then finish out this corner by doing the next 3 double crochets. Then I'm going to turn this so that you can see we are going to be attaching up this side next. I hope it helps that this is all different colors so you can kind of see which colors were part of which row. If you are doing this yourself and you are using different colors, whenever you use the map, it might be helpful to label or color the map so you can see, or the diagram, the pattern, so that you can see which blocks you're joining at what points and what they're getting attached to. Might make it a little bit easier for you. Okay, that brings us up to the corner here. So I'll do 3 double crochets. I'll chain 1. I'm going to find my diagonal corner, which is right here. I'm going to insert my hook. Chain 1. And then work down this full side. I'm finishing out my corner first with 3 double crochets, then chain 1 and cluster the whole way down to this corner. Alright, so we'll start this corner with 3 double crochets. Chain 2, yarn over, and this is our last square that we're going to join. So insert our hook into a corner, do our double crochet, do 2 more double crochets, and then turn this so we can see where it actually goes. It's going to be fitting in right here. So we'll attach this last square the same way we've been attaching all of the others. When I get to the corner, I'm going to start my corner with 3 double crochets, chain 1, go to my diagonal. Remember, this one already has 3 connected to it, so this is my topmost join, so I want to make sure it is nice and snug so it looks secure. Then I'll finish out this corner. I'm going to go ahead and rotate my work because that way I can see that I'm joining up this side next. Okay, chain 1, pull up a loop, or I should say pull my loop up tall, find my diagonal square, which is over here, insert my hook, chain 1, I'm going to finish out this corner and then work all the way down this side. Okay, and once we get to that corner, now we have all of our squares attached. So you can see it has definitely grown in size because it doesn't fit on my screen anymore. And at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way down this side, just like we went down this side and this side. I should point out, at this point you'll notice the top is all gray already. This will be as soon as we turn this corner. The bottom is not, so that's what we're going to be working on next. We're going to be coming around the edge, and as we're coming around the edge, eventually we're going to fold this up, and we're going to join this edge to this side, and I'll explain how we do that as we go. In the meantime, though, if your top is not all gray, something went wrong somewhere, so maybe back up. But yeah, once again, this whole top edge, or whatever your border color or your joining color is, this whole top should be gray. This side you can see is not, the bottoms are not, and as soon as we're done here, this whole side will be. That's what we're working on now. So just kind of give you an idea of what it's looking like and where we're going with this. So we're going to work down this side, just chaining and clustering. Okay, and then we're going to do this corner like a full corner. So we've got 3 double crochets, chain 3, and then 3 double crochets to finish the corner. Okay, and that's where we've come to now. So we've worked all the way down this side. We're rounding the corner and starting down this side. I'm going to grab my pattern here to show you where we are on it. So we just finished here. We're at this corner. What we're going to do is we're going to work all the way down this side and then all the way up the other. So like this and like this. Then we're going to work down and up again. So down here and up here, and then that's where we're going to start folding our pattern up. So for right now, we're just going to go here, here, connect to this corner, here, here, connect to this corner. So I'm going to flip this whole thing upside down just because I like to work straight across whatever I'm working on. Okay, so we're down to this corner. We're going to round the corner. So we're going to do 3 more double crochets in that corner to round it out. Chain 1, we're going to work straight across here. And that brings me to this corner. Half of the corner is already done, so I'm working on this side. I'm going to do 3 double crochets. Then we're going to find our, I'm sorry, we're not finding a diagonal this time. we are working in this chain space right here, created whenever we did this turn. So we're just going to chain one and slip stitch into that. And we're going to chain one, and we're going to continue down this next square. Round this corner, so we'll do 3 double crochets, chain 3, and head back on down this other side. So we'll finish out that corner with 3 more double crochets. Back up this side. And then we are to that corner. I'm going to do those 3 double crochets, chain 1, and then I'm going to slip stitch to this chain 2 space at the bottom of my work, which is at the top now, but if it was flipped the right way, it's at the bottom. Chain 1, and then I'm going to pull up a pretty big loop here so I don't accidentally lose it. You might want to put a stitch marker on it, or I'm going to just tie a little knot here for a second, just because I do not want that to get pulled through while I'm flipping this all around. So now I have it turned the correct direction. You can see we have rounded the corner, we've gone up this one, down, up again, and this is where we've stopped. So this is where you fold in, but we're looking at the right side of our work now, so we're going to have to flip it all the way over on its back to fold this in, but this is going to be our fold line. So if you're looking at your pattern, we're folding through lines squares 2, 9, and 4, which for me are here, here, and here. So again, this is backwards, but just to show you, those are the spots that we're folding on, and then this will fold up. But because this is the wrong side, that was the wrong side you're seeing, this is the right side of your work, what you do is flip it all over backwards. So here's where we stopped, where I have that big loop pulled up, that's a fold mark. So we fold that here, and fold it straight in, like you're folding. I was going to say the pages of a book, but that's not how you fold the pages of a book. You're just flipping it straight over. Then, here, this is square 2, this is the back of square 2, so we fold it in, and this is now 1 and 7 on top of each other, and 10 and 13, if that helps you, if you've numbered your blocks. If you needed to, you could put post-it notes on them, or stitch markers, anything to really help you understand where these are located. And then this one, right here, comes up. So it might be helpful at this point to pin this. You could use like safety pins or stitch markers, bobby pins, just paper clips even, just so you know where you're going next. So I'm going to grab stitch markers and do that now. So I have a variety of different kinds of stitch markers. I've been working on some smaller projects, so I have these that are basically safety pins that don't have the hinge at the bottom. I also have some like this. There's kind of a little loop-de-loop. Either is going to work just fine. We just need it secured some way. So if you want to use one like this, so it just kind of holds everything together for you. I'm going to show you how those work. Just like that. Just one here and there to keep it all together for us while we're working on it. Kind of just putting them on the corners. I've got, this is where I'm going to be working next. I've got this all together, and I've got these 2 points. I think that should just about do it. Because this is, well, maybe I'll put one right here too. This is going to get flipped around as we're working on it. So it's probably going to be easier if you have it good and secured. Put this one down closer to the bottom here. Okay. So this is where we're working. We've just folded it. We've just pinned everything. This is back over here. This is number 9. This is where I have my big loop here tied off. We just finished this row right here. We are going to be working back down this side of it, which is on the opposite side of what we're putting together here. And so we just finished this on this green block of mine. We did the slip stitch to that chain 2 space. We did a chain 1, and now we're going to be working up this side. As we do that, I'm going to finish out this first corner, which is 3 double crochets. And pull up a loop. I'm going to bounce over to the square that I just did, which is laying on top of it now. So it's kind of like this, side by side. It's front to back laying on top of each other, but as we're working on it, kind of creates more of a front to back, side to side, top to bottom. And we're going to be bouncing back and forth, attaching these 2 squares to each other. We're doing that the same way we've been doing as far as pulling our loop up tall, pulling it through the other square, doing our chain 1, working in our next space, pulling up a tall loop, bouncing back to our other square, pulling our loop through, chain 1, and over to this one. Pull our loop up, attach it, and that brings me to the corner of the square that I'm attaching. I'm going to do chain 3, granny cluster, 3 double crochets, I'm going to chain 1. Okay, so I've just attached this full side. I have another chain 2 space, which would be, if you're looking at your plan here, we just went down here even and attached to this one, even though they're folded up together now. And this is the chain 2 space that we're working into. We're actually going to work through this diagonal corner as well. I think it's going to be easier if I pull up a loop here, go from top to bottom through the diagonal corner and then through the chain 2 space. Then I'm going to just continue on my corner. Okay, and then I'm going to work on attaching up this side, so I'm going to go ahead and spin this off of here. So I'm going to be pulling up my loop, pulling that through, chain 1, 3 double crochets, Loop high, insert my hook into the other side, pull it through and chain 1, 3 double crochets, okay, then we are to the corner. I'm going to go ahead and take this one off as well so we can work into that corner. So I'm going to do 3 double crochets, I'm going to chain 1, go to my diagonal corner, which is this one, make sure that tension's good and snug on that one, and then 3 double crochets to finish out that corner and start us working down the next side. Okay, then I'm going to attach these two sides together. Okay, that brings us to our corner. So I've done my 3 double crochet. I'm going to chain 1, and this is just like this one was on this side, so I'm going to pull up my loop. I'm going to go from top to bottom through this corner, but then also through this chain 2 space on the bottom. So I'm working through both of them. I'm going to pull up a loop and pull it nice and snug. Chain 1. And then I'm going to, I just flipped my work, by the way. I've been working on this side, but this already has gray on it. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to start working down this side of my work. So I've got 3 double crochets to finish out that corner. Now I'm going front to back, joining the next section. Brings us to a corner. We do 3 double crochets, chain 1, we're going to work into 2 corners again. So we're just going to go from front to back through 1, and so it's through a corner and then through a chain 2 space, chain 1, and just keep turning your work. So we've gone down this way, now we're going to come up this way. So I'm just looking for the next side that doesn't have a finished edge yet. Okay, we get to that corner, we do 3 double crochets, okay, we have to find a diagonal corner here, which is over right here. And then also we're going through the chain 2 space down below it. So from front to back I'm going diagonal corner, and then the chain 2 space. Going through and doing chain 2, I'm sorry, chain 1. Do our corner. This one gets a little bit different. We're going to first do our chain 1 and attach to this diagonal corner, just like we have been doing. But then on this one we still have this corner and this corner to join. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, this is the corner I just joined into. Now I'm going to go to this one, insert my hook, then I'm going to come over to this chain 2 space that's here, insert my hook, put my yarn loop back on, pull this through, and chain 1, and now all 4 of those are nice and snug together. Then I will finish out this next corner. So it's basically when we get to that last corner, we're just doing 2 corner joins at the same time, or 1 corner join right after the other, I guess we could say. Okay. Then we're going to attach this last side and then do the last corner, and then we are done. Okay, then we get to the last corner. Do our 3 double crochets. And actually, I'm sorry, we just do 2 double crochets here. Because if you remember, we started with the double crochet and then the chain 3. So we do 2 double crochets. Then we find the top of that first double crochet. We slip stitch to it. Then I'm going to slip stitch over to my chain space, and that is where I'm going to work in and attach to my final corner. And I'm going to do that by first working slip stitch in the diagonal, I'm sorry, a chain in the diagonal, and then I'm going to go around and do 1 more and that one in between, kind of like we just did back here. And that finishes out our purse. So from here, you just pull up a nice big loop, snip it off, weave in our ends, and then you can attach whatever kind of straps you want, whether you want to do short straps, long straps. I've done a couple different varieties. For some of them I do a strap on each side, some of them I just make it a big crossbody bag. It's kind of completely up to you from this point on. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, here's our final assembly. Everything's all attached in a solid bag. Alright, thanks for watching.